let's talk about the small lock on the Valhalla Doors. So in Daniels Woodland, they want a really epic entrance into their facility where they can show really what they can do. They needed a lock on their, what's called like a man door. When you go in and don't have to open up the giant doors, you can just go through the smaller door. They need a lock to that so they can lock it up at night. So I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. I love exposed gearworks. I love cutting gears. I love to see an old school kind of machination work. Is the best thing in the world. I did 3 different drawings. Very simple, a little bit less simple, extremely unsimple. Oh, this is the other side of the keyhole, and it pretty much sends a rod up and down. But there's a lot of complications with that because then the big doors couldn't open when this was locked. They couldn't have that. So now everything was just gonna go up. I wanted to add bells that would ring at different stages of the lock because when you're on the other side of these massive doors, it's really wonderful when you have that big key in your hands and you're turning the lock. You get when it's locked and unlocked. Ended up going with the most complex design yet. 3 stages of gearworks. I'm just so happy with how it all came to be. So, when you're talking about an overall piece, an overall voice of work, you kind of start to develop a vocabulary of what you're building. You can start taking small elements and repurposing elsewhere. So it's been really fun to repurpose a lot of artistic motifs in this piece. And of course, back to some peening. It's so much fun to add texture, breaking edges, carving the lines, and then peening with a ball peen hammer, juxtaposed with some brass work as well. Gears are a lot of fun. I love cutting gears. It's very tedious, but it's just so wonderful when you get it running just right and it's nice and smooth. Oh, it's just so nice. I love used gears. Okay, everybody. Hand crank. This will go to the other side of the lock where the handles are. This is the gear mechanism. It will transfer all of that energy from the crank and the lock, and then make it way stronger down here. And then this is where the deadbolt and the counterweight will move. There's never a job that doesn't have its very specific and personalized challenges. This one was definitely getting everything to line up perfectly. As you can see, there are 3 axles in this piece that need to align absolutely perfectly, 90 degrees in all directions, from one axle to the other, to line up all the bearings. Yeah, it was a wonderfully challenging piece. Usually things with a maker's mark on them was something that is noteworthy. So I really wanted to design this piece, especially on that little doorknob. It's nebulous, but it's beautiful. I love that little signature on that bit of brass that I riveted on the end of that doorknob, with the counterweight, so it's nice and fluid. And it feels good in your hand too. I wish you guys could all feel what it feels like to lock this door. Forge steel into a shape, depending on the composition of the material at hand, creates a ring and a tone. And there is just something so magical about a bright, pure, handmade tone from a piece of material. There are 2 tones for these doors. The higher pitched one means it's locked, and then the lower pitched one means it's unlocked. There's always that wonderful moment when you reach a really fun, happy place, and for this one, it's when it functioned. So it was just so wonderful to feel those gears meshing so nicely. Let me tell you that this is only the beginning for the Valhalla Doors. There is so much exciting work to be had, so much to come. And as always, all of you, thank you so much for watching.